All right, so I'm live here with the first episode of this Hugging Face series where I assimilate Hugging Face, and I'm going to go through and build things really iteratively. And to start with, I think maybe I'll explain a little bit about what Hugging Face is. Hugging Face is essentially like GitHub, but for models and for data sets. And to start with, what I'll do is just lock in here and share my screen. So let's go ahead and share the screen here. Okay, so I got inside of my interface here, got things cooking. Let's make this thing nice and big. So the idea here with Hugging Face, and you probably have heard a lot of the things that are happening with Hugging Face in the news, is that you can use AI essentially. So you can create images, you can go through and build natural language processing systems. And so let's really start at the beginning here. And the first thing that you'll want to do is go ahead and create an account, right? And so in this case, I've already got an account created here, and this allows me to really kick the tires on everything. Now there is if we go to pricing for the free contributor, you can actually try inference here, and you can do up to 30K input characters a month. There's community support. I use this thing enough that I went to the pro plan, and so I have a pro badge, and I can go through and do some other things as well, like train models with auto train. I don't know if this particular feature is fully baked yet. I don't get it because I think the whole pay as you go thing at the costs at the price point it is now, it doesn't really make sense. And then we've got higher rates limits to inference, so we can do 1 million input characters. I can also do 2 hours of audio, which is pretty cool. And there's new features. And so, what are different things you get? You get expert support, auto train, accelerated inference. Those are some of the things that you can do with Hugging Face beyond just this. And so, in terms of the interface here, we've got models, and if you look here, there are 68,000 models. So a lot of people are uploading models here, just like with GitHub. We're probably just getting started with what's gonna happen. It seems like this particular Hugging Face company has really captured the market in terms of where people are putting models currently. And one of the other things you can do when you look at models is look at the different tasks that are available. So you can see like image classification, translation, segmentation, fill mask, speech recognition, token classification, sentence similarity, audio classification, question answering, summarization. Like there's a whole bunch of tasks here that you can do, different kinds of libraries, PyTorch, TensorFlow, JAX. And then in terms of data sets as well, they have 1,300 data sets here. So this is pretty cool because you're really getting the core components necessary to do things with AI and ML, but moving beyond what I think is a little bit boring, which is the Kaggle approach, which is, you know, I really actually don't really get it as an interesting thing to play around with, other than occasionally it's kind of fun to play around with projects. But with this, you're building things that are useful, solving real problems, and then sharing those ideas with people. So I think there could be a lot of people moving towards the Hugging Face stuff. So the other thing to pay attention to is they have this thing called Spaces. And so Spaces is pretty interesting because this is how you could figure out how to see what's happening, right? Like what are the hot projects, what's going on. And if you want to see like the most likes, right? Like this is a pretty good way to figure out like what's popular. Well, here we go, right? Stable Diffusion is a really popular library right now. Dolly Mini, all these different projects. And so you can also make your own space, right? Which is pretty cool. And so I think either using Spaces or creating your own spaces are both really great ideas to get started with Hugging Face. And then even beyond that, you can also call Hugging Face inside of your own development environment. For example, building a GitHub code spaces environment and then invoking Hugging Space. So today, because I wanted to expand these things a little bit, I'm going to go and try to build something every single time I'm working on a live stream here, and just make it really useful. So to start with, let's just start off with a space here real quick. This is the one a lot of people are playing around with. We can enter a prompt, and we could say, like, even take some ideas here, like from something, there we go, like a small cabin. It created this programmatically, but let's do, like, dystopian America, huge income inequality, people addicted to cell phones, nobody reads anymore, education isn't valued, truth is debatable, cyberpunk, snow crash, high res, fascism becomes reality. I don't know. We'll just create like a kind of a really weird dystopian future, and let's see if our stable diffusion demo can capture the essence of it. So this is really, I would say, for people that aren't software engineers, you can get started with using Hugging Face this way. And this will take a little bit of time for this to come back. So I don't want to wait 200 seconds for this to come back. So what I'll do in the meantime here is just show you how you can actually use Hugging Face to create your own space. So let's go ahead and do that. Here we go. I've got my account here, and we'll call this, I don't know, like copy stable diffusion, right? Let's see if I can just copy one of theirs, and we'll just say Creative Commons, sure. And then what do we want to build this in? Well, we could look at this here and look at the files and look at what they're okay. So they're using Gradio. So let's copy. Let's just copy what they're doing. So we'll use Gradio here. We'll make it public. We'll create a space. And so how do you actually work on this? There's a few different ways to work on it. I mean, you can just copy this and work on this locally and push it. Or the other thing is you can also just make it right in the browser, which I think is a good way to start when you're just playing around. So if we wanted to copy this stuff, what could we do? Well, we could just go through here and just try it out and see if we can get this to work. This may not work, but this is probably a reasonable way to do things. And we'll just say, okay, so we got an app here. And then we would need to create some other things too. So we would need to copy whatever else they have in their project. Requirements, here we go. We could do that. We could say requirements.txt, and this might be all we need. If I just say add a file, create a new file, we can say requirements.txt. How about that? And then if we go back here, really all I see inside of this project, if I remember correctly, is an app and requirements. That's it. So basically this installs the packages, this runs the app, which is the UI and the logic all in one. And so if we go back here now, we can refresh. Oh, building. So it's building the project right now. So let's just let this build for a second, and we'll go back to our dystopian future. It's almost finished, and we can just wait for this to run. I guess the advantage of running in spaces is that you don't need to set up a local environment. You can just kind of, watch everything in progress here. If you do have access to a really fast GPU, it may actually be worthwhile to run this locally. And so it's interesting because in some sense, it does make me want to set up a huge GPU cluster now that we have all this stuff coming up with pre-trained models. But there are also other ways to run it, which I'm going to do in a second, which is I'm also going to run Hugging Face inside of GitHub code spaces and just tweak an environment that a friend already set up. Okay, so let's see here. What happens? Here's our dystopian future. That looks pretty dystopian, right? Like we have some kind of weird environments. Maybe this is like Orwellian or something. We have, some kind of matrix or something. I mean, this looks spooky. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of cool. You can play around with, making new things with this stable diffusion demo. But that's the gist of it. Now, if we go back here and we go to runtime error, I can see like I screwed up something. Let's see what I screwed up here. Let's take a look. I mean, I kind of don't care that I screwed up because we can get to this later. For now, I'm just going to abandon ship actually on this because what I really wanted to show next, I mean, this is just the highlights here is how do I actually build something myself and even build something in my own environment so I can take advantage of basically high powered machines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift gears here and I'm going to go to a repo that a friend set up recently. Let's see here, Alfredo Deza. And let's look at his, here we go. Let's look at his repos. And I think he was just, here we go, Hugging Face summarization. So what I wanted to show is that he actually has some things here that I want to copy. So one of the things he's doing is he built a command line tool, and we can take a look at his example. If we go to summarize here, he has a little command line tool right here that does some stuff. And what if I want to use his command line tool and kind of tweak it a little bit and copy it? We can see what it does. It uses the click library. It uses Hugging Face. It uses Beautiful Soup. And if you give it a URL, it'll try to slurp it in and actually then take those results and then summarize them, which is pretty cool actually. So let's see if we can do the same thing ourselves by building this out inside of our own GitHub code spaces. Now, one other thing I'll point out is he's using a very advanced technique here. And the advanced technique is that he's using a Docker file to customize his environment. And he's also customizing his code space so that it actually has certain properties that are set up for him. So what I can do is either I could fork this or I could just copy some of the stuff he did. So I'm just gonna copy some of the things. So I'll leave this here and I'm gonna go back to GitHub and I'm going to go to an environment where I can use code spaces. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say Hugging Face. Let's go here. We'll call this Hugging Face CLI with code spaces. So this will be a repo that allows me to build tools, build AI tools on top of Hugging Face. There we go. We'll make this public so other people can copy it. I'll add a README. Always a good idea to add a README. We'll add a gignor here for Python. We'll do Creative Commons, which means that people can just say, hey, I copied from this. Here we go. Once you create this repo, what I'm going to do is see how it says code space. I'm actually going to do an advanced option here because I want a very, very powerful environment. I'm going to go to 16 core machine. Look, 32 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, right? So I want a really powerful machine here to play around with. And so I'll also want to tweak this environment using, again, the techniques that my friend Alfredo has shown me earlier today, which are to customize things so that things are easy to work with. And so the first thing that happens when you set up CodeSpace is it launches all this stuff, and we do all this, and we get rid of it. The next thing that I typically would want to do is set the color so that it's dark. There we go. And the other thing that I want to do is play around with adding the right features and things like that. So one of the things I want to add is this. I want to use Copilot, which is AI. So I want to use an AI pair programmer to help me code AI. So I think that's one of the really cool things, is to use AI to build AI, right? So that's step one. The other thing I'm going to do is, if we go into the command menu here, I always forget how to do this with Visual Studio, where there's like a little command menu here, which is run. So we do terminal view, command palette. There we go. It's shift command P. There we go. Command palette. And I'm going to do CodeSpace. We want to do CodeSpace configure development container features, I believe. So we want to do that. We want to do so we're going to pick show all definitions. I think we want to actually start with looking through the different containers here. And if we go through here, we can go into all the different environments. Here we go. Python 3 looks like a good one to do. And then it's going to say, which one do you want to use? I'm going to do 3.8 bullseye, and we don't want any node. And then it can ask me if I want to install other things inside of here. I don't think I need any of this. Let's take a look though. Homebrew, nothing. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. And we're ready to go. So let's take a look at this real quick. And what this will do is it'll let me, if I want to, basically override what's happening in my machine and kind of tweak it a little bit, which is kind of a cool concept. So do we want to do linting? Yes. Auto, PEP. We have all these other things. I can just leave all this stuff. This looks good. If I wanted to extend it, I could, but I think this is pretty good to go. This has got everything I need in here. And then if I go to the Docker file, I could also tweak things here if I wanted to and change things. But if I go here, I could, if your pip requirements rarely change, you could actually add them automatically to the image. I don't think I do want to do that, because sometimes I may want to tweak things a little bit here. So I'm going to leave all that the same. And what I can do is, if I go to the command thing here again, if I go to Shift P, CodeSpace here, and we say, okay, I think I can get it to rebuild. We can say rebuild CodeSpace. CodeSpace is rebuild container. Rebuild will recreate the code space. So it'll take this new change that I made, and it'll just like essentially tweak everything so it's a slightly different image for me. So this really is a nice feature when you're using things like Hugging Face, because it could customize the environment, maybe install things using the OS package manager, compile software. Like if you had to compile Python from scratch, for example, that would be a real pain to handle. That would be one thing to do. But there's a few different things that come to mind when you're doing code spaces. I think especially with working with AI tools, it would be a great place to play around with things. So we got this thing now using our new Python. Look, see, now it's Python 3.8, so that's pretty cool, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a virtual environment, and I typically do this first thing when I'm using the machine, and I put this into the bash RC so that Vim is not found, really? What VI is found? There we go. It is weird that VI is not installed, but sure. Um, now, yeah, let's do let's do this. We'll do sudo apt get install vim. Weird that VI is a crappy VI. See Ubuntu, install Vim. But every bad install. Here we go. Sudo apt-get. Huh, that's what I thought that would work. So let's try this. Let's do an update real quick. If this is an issue, I could always change my code space environment to tweak this, but let's see what happens. Kind of weird that VI doesn't come inside of a Python container, but interesting. And now we can also see what's happening if I run htop. It'll show me it's doing something. I don't know why it's hanging there. That seems a little strange. Maybe it's doing some stuff in the background. So we can see exactly what it's doing. Not using a lot of CPU though, which is weird. I mean, I'm half tempted to just do this instead. Actually, what I can do this is just be lazy, and we can say echo source tilde.venv, then activate. We don't have to use an editor. You can just append this, and now if I cat -rc file, there we go. So we see that it sources. So that's one way to solve the problem of if you have an issue with your editor and you just whatever reason. And so now if I just open up a new shell, there we go. See my environment is working, and I say which Python. The only other thing that I typically would do then is just create a requirements here. I would also create a makefile. And I do think file is the way to go. And I'm going to go to GitHub and just copy a real simple one. Everyone has their own style, but I find that a makefile is huge because it just creates a good structure for my project so that I don't have to worry about there being problems. So I'm gonna make this one main. That we'll do this, right? And then for requirements, let's just copy what Alfredo's got here. So he's got these libraries, good. And look, he pinned them too, which is nice. So I can just copy his pinned requirements, which is great. And then if I want to install, I just say make install. So, right, so we go through here and we say make install. This should install the Hugging Face stuff, right? So transformers is Hugging Face, Click is command line tool library, TensorFlow is for deep learning, and Beautiful Soup will let me scrape websites. So I'm again just copying his goods. Okay. Let this thing go here. Perfect. And now all I have to do is I could test the installations, right? So I could just type in, for example, Python. Ooh, type in Python imports transformers. Yep, it looks like it works. Or imports TensorFlow as TF. There you go. Right, we see that both work. So the next step then would be to create a file. So we'll call this one main. And inside the make file here, you can see I can test this now. I can format it and I can lint it once I get all this set up. So I'm going to go back again to his project. I'm going to steal some of his code. What has he got here? He's got summarize, which is right here. So I'm going to just basically, I'm going to pilfer his code here. I'm going to throw it inside. And what we can do is we can actually use formatter first. So I'll say make format. Let's just make sure. Look, it found some formatting issues, which is good. Now, I don't know why this thing's being so sloppy about. It should recognize that view problem import with Pylance. Yeah, Pylance should know about this. There's a way to tell the interpreter essentially to ignore this and recognize this. So that is a little bit annoying. We can do code spaces, tell Pylance to use virtual env. And I can just Google it. There we go. How do we do this? So Pylance should pick up if you change the settings. I face the same. Pylance is not updated. It's not related to this. If you use PyEnv, the general advice is set your Python path like this. I have the same problem. Oh, but after I reload the window, Control-Shift-P, the warning stopped. Okay, let's try that. So let's do Control-Shift-P. Does that work? Control-Shift-P. Or we can even reload the entire system. We could do, I mean, it's really not that big of a deal, but I just thought I would see if I could figure it out. But like restart or restart code space. Let's do this. Code space. Let's do my code space. Does it have like a restart? Well, I guess that could be a restart. Is you just get out of it and see if it'll just wake it back up. Not a big deal that it doesn't have the imports. Just kind of annoying because it should pick that up. Yeah, I don't know why that's not picking that up, but not that big of a deal. So next up here, I could just try it out. So we can say Python main, and we can see that it is doing something. And we do a -- help like this. And I am not getting any help though, because we don't have a main method here, right here. So what we need to do is we need to say if under name is equal to main, it will do call main like that. And let's try that. There we go. So now we got it to work. And so the way this should work is that I should be able to feed it another library or another URL, and it should be able to slurp in that URL and grab some content. So what I could do is I have a website where I have like free books and stuff like that. So let's go to cloud computing for data. Let's summarize a whole, let's go to chapter 1, getting started, right? This is a kind of a big chapter, chapter 1. So I'm going to tell this tool to grab stuff from that URL and summarize what's happening inside. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll do this. Okay, so it's going to go over to this website. It's going to download the model, and it's going to use Hugging Face's transformer code to actually go ahead and do a summarization process. And here we go. So I'm gonna fix my interpreter problem real quick. Look, there we go. This chapter covers how to build a cloud-based environment. A gist can be shared with the public repo, markdown files. It can also be shared via a web page or through Blog Engine. So yeah, not bad. I mean, that's kind of an interesting little process here. So if I say which Python, this, I can just feed in the path to the Python interpreter there. Aha, there we go. Now this should get rid of this, right? Aha, look at, did that fix it? No quick, unable to. Let's see if this would fix it. Boy, that's so annoying when Python interpreter, select interpreter. Yeah, it should be this one right here. Should be, this is the one I want. There we go. Now, why does it not respect that? I don't know. Or maybe it is unable to import. But the main thing is I got it to work, right? And so what could we do next here is, well, let me just check this code in, right? That would probably be the first thing to do. So let's look at get status. I can add my container here, .dev container. We can add the make file. And we can say git add main, git add requirements. You can just say working summarization tool. Now, I think it would be kind of cool to just build more stuff, right? Like extend this tool. I mean, this is pretty useful. Like this is definitely pretty useful. But what if I changed it to have another parameter that is Wikipedia? And what if it was able to do Wikipedia pages? Because if we do file process text, let's look at where process. So process, yeah. So process just takes text. So we could add another option here that would use the Wikipedia library. So that would be kind of cool. So what I can do is do a couple things here. So we can go to Wikipedia here. So I can do pip install Wikipedia. There we go. I can do pip freeze grep Wikipedia. Grab that. Okay. And then if I also want to install IPython, so I can just, play around with stuff, pip install. I'm not going to put this into my requirements. Man, look at this is a fast environment too. This is almost faster than my laptop. And what I can do now is I can just play around with Wikipedia. So I can say from Wikipedia import. How does Wikipedia work? Wikipedia Python. It works. We do summary, but we might want. Let me see a page content. We might want the whole page. So I think we want the whole page. So let's try this. Let's do import Wikipedia, wikipedia.page. Okay, so if we do this, import Wikipedia. Okay, Wikipedia page. Let's just paste that in actually. York. And what was that weird warning it had? It said, New York City. Let's do this. Boy, this library is not the best. Unless they want to do underscores or something. A lot of times the pages have to be underscores. You can do that with a search to figure it out. So we can do Wikipedia search. We can do New York. This is why IPython is our friend here, else we would be in big trouble. Aha, so we have this. And so if I say wikipedia.page, New York City. See, I don't see New York City. I mean, let's try that. Let's see if this works. State. Okay, well, let's try this. Let's call this page is equal to that. Then page dot content. There we go. This is what we want. So this is exactly the kind of magic that I want here. So in order to make all this stuff wired together, I'm going to have to first import Wikipedia. And I'm going to probably want to do another terminal. So I have two. I have one that's IPython, and I have one that's just my regular environment. And I don't really need to write much code. In fact, we can try our friend AI here, and we can say write a function that uses Wikipedia to return a page. So does our AI code work? Or is it not installed? This would be Copilot. It's not installed yet. So maybe because I reset everything. But let's try this. Let's come on, Copilot. There we go. I like it. Get page. Don't try Wikipedia.page, page.content. Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. So now I'm going to use some AI here. So get page text. It's kind of what I want, but we can use some of that. We can say write a function that uses the Wikipedia library to return a page object. That's more what I want. Let's see, get page object. Does that work? Let's see. Okay, let's see if we can do it. Give me. try page accept Wikipedia that page. Maybe. Actually, I don't know if this would work. Let's try it out. So maybe it's actually smart enough to know how to do this. So what I'm going to do, go back here and let's try this out. So it says if I have something called text, let's see. So we know that would work. So what happens if I just say text equals this, right? Text. And then if I just let's try this function out. Let's just literally like throw it in here. If I just say page is equal to get page, and I put in the text, is it this smart? Ooh. So it wrote the code for me. Thanks. Thanks, Copilot. That's not bad. All right. So not much to do then. So all I need to do here is I could, let's see, like, whoa, pretty smart. I don't want to do text though. I want to do URL. I want to know Wikipedia. Wikipedia page. Wiki page. How about wiki page? How about that? Wiki page. That's what I want. Right. And so then we would add, there you go. It's smart enough to know that. And we say we would just need to go if, we add another if here, if wiki page here, we would say text get page wiki page. Perfect. And then click echo summarize text from or page. And we would say text right there, text right there, text right there, text get page, process text. Yeah, looks pretty good actually. Pretty solid. So our AI friend here was not bad. So I'm going to try out our new code that was in part coded with Copilot, and let's go ahead and say Python main dash help. Now this is annoying. I would love to know how to get rid of this. Let's see if well first let's make it run first, and then I'm going to ask our AI to help us. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to wiki page, and I'm going to, if I remember correctly, that it was like New York City or something. Like, what was it? Yeah, this. Let's put this in. Let's try it out. Does it summarize the page for us? Ooh. Okay, it's looking good. Killed. Okay, I don't know why it's killed. Was it too much text, or is there like a small Wikipedia page? Like, let's find a smaller page. Let's just go to Wikipedia and let's just find a smaller page in case that's the issue. And English. I don't know. Let's find something that's not too big. Charleston, South Carolina. It's not giant. It looks kind of small. So let's try that. Charleston, South Carolina. Let's go here. Let's do that. Summarizing text from Charleston, South Carolina. Hmm. Yeah, what does this mean? This is so I'm getting well, let's see if anything works. I think that's the first thing. Does anything work? And so let's first go back to history. Let's see if that other thing works. I guess what I could do is I could log how big each text object is. Something weird's going on though. I get the feeling that it needs to be restarted or something. Like out of here, exit. Something's like this doesn't make sense. Like it's like this environment got unstable here. And see, it's got plenty of free memory. Okay, so it did work. I mean, I guess what I could do is I could say, if I go down here, what could I do? I could say summarizing text, text.read, get page. Hmm. Process text. Well, we could manually process the text ourselves. That would because I'm trying to think of what's the easiest way to debug this. So let's do that. So let's just type in IPython. So I'll just import the different parts of this. So I'll say from main imports import everything. And type in who, right, and it'll show me all the different things available. So first, I just want to make some text. Like, so let's make that text. And then let's actually use our function, which is this nice little function here. And we'll just say page is equal to get page text, right? Now let's do a len on this. Like, how big is this? So it's pretty big. Maybe it can't process that much. Um, hmm. I guess I could like dump it or something. Does Wikipedia let you do that? Let's see here. Wikipedia library, Python Wikipedia, Python Wikipedia library. I'm just guessing that like it's like grabbing too much text. Um, Python truncate text. Um, let's find here. What's this like a? Oh, that's an interesting concept. Even more concise. There we go. If it's less than data, even shorter. Oh, text wrap from the standard library does shorten. Interesting. So it looks like there's some ways to just truncate the text here that might help me. I think this is what the issue is that the text is so big that it's blowing up. That this transformer is not liking it. So what I could try to fix it. Let's see if I can recreate the error. So it would be um, uh, it would be process. So let's see if I say results is equal to process page. Should see that same error. It should say out of memory or whatever. Yeah, there we go. Allocation exceeds. That's the issue. So I guess I could try that again real quick to see if I can just quickly truncate it. So I can just say Everything imported. Just trying to make a hack here real quick. Do text, and we say get page. And if I say len page, we see that it's 1,236. But what if I said P2 is equal to page? What was the thing Stack Overflow said? It said try something like that. If it's less than 76 quarters, there'll be no change to 75 characters in Python. It's an interesting idea. So if I did that, if I just said page, let's try that to start off with. Let's say P2 len P2. Now I don't know what will blow it up though. So 70. I mean, that seems a little excessive to truncate it that much. Let's try 7,500. Now let's see if that will work. We'll say results. Yeah, there you go. Really? I mean, like how low of a, so weird that it's like, that it's blowing up on that. But let's try. Let's see if I can just Jimmy rig this thing. So let's do that. Let's get the page. Let's just make it tiny. 75. There we go. So this should be like nothing. Right? There's nothing. So if this doesn't work, then what I think is the problem isn't the problem. Let's go ahead and try this out. Result. Yeah. Yeah. So something weird is going on here. I don't know what this is and why it's, maybe max length summarizer, max length. Is that it? Container. I loaded the file. Huh. Wow. Some weird TensorFlow error. So this is a good start. A good place though to stop maybe is I'll just make a note that just says up here, something is broken with Wikipedia page. I don't know what the problem is. That's right. But we can put the warning up here and we can do this. So we can fix it later. But we made a lot of progress. And so what I'll do is I'll just check this in. So get status. Yeah, I think a lot of people that don't write code or new to writing code think that you write code that it just works all the time, and the reality is it doesn't. That writing software is just constantly things are broken. so if you want to get access to this repo, you can go to NOGIBJJ Hugging Face CLI with code spaces, and you can play around with it. So it for the most part works, except for the issue with the Wikipedia extension, right? That I added here. But I do like what our friend Copilot actually gave us to get things to work. So I'm going to do this every week. I'm going to do an hour. So I'm going to go really, really deep and build lots and lots of solutions. And so I'm going to treat this more like I'm at a job, and a lot of the stuff I'm writing is something that somebody wants me to write at work. So if you like this kind of stuff, go ahead and stay tuned. All right. See y'all next week.